No.
Zach, start. Why'd you clap?
Start the chord, man.
We have one mic. Why are you clapping?
Okay.
Zach, start the chord.
Oh.
Stop, CJ. No, don't. No, CJ. Okay. Zach, start the chord.
Oh.
No, different no, because that note's kind of weird. No, never mind. Okay. No.
That was too high, Zach.
How about we just start talking?
If you're going to be the bass note, you got to sing lower. It's okay. This is not working.
Okay, no, alright.
Okay, whose podcast is this again?
This is CJ's podcast.
This is CJ's podcast.
This is CJ's podcast.
This is apparently my podcast. Through no will of my own, it is mine. And mine alone, so I'll claim any money we ever make from this.
You think we're actually going to make money from this podcast?
Of course we're
Maybe.
going to make money, Cole.
Yeah.
People actually listen to it, which
So,
I hope you're watching right. I mean, listening right now.
Watching.
Okay,
the
so-
Because we're recording right now.
we are recording.
And it's
it.
going to be
Episode
uploaded.
1.
alright, yeah, episode 1, we do something.
What are we doing, CJ? You're the podcast.
Wait, well, before we do something, I think CJ.
I think we should introduce ourselves.
Thank you for cutting me
I
off,
think you're right,
Zach. CJ, why is it called CJ's podcast?
I'm not quite sure.
Okay, Zach, why is it called CJ's podcast?
Because it's we spelt it CJZ because the C stands for Cole,
That's me. I'm Cole.
Josh,
Hello.
and then CJ combined is CJ.
And then the Z is because
and
we
then the
couldn't
Z-
think of
Zach.
anything else.
The
Because
Z at the
Zach's
very
name
end is me,
Zach.
Zach.
Well, at first I wanted it to be called CJ's podcast.
The CJ podcast.
No, CJ's podcast. Because it is indeed CJ, Clark Jameson, CJ's podcast.
You don't need to disclose my real name, Cole.
It's okay, you don't know your last name. That was just the first and middle.
I'm sure there's at least one other person out there named Clark Jameson.
That'd be kind of
That
weird.
is probably true.
Yeah,
Why is your middle name Jameson?
almost 8 billion. Jameson, because my parents gave me a middle name after Jameson Irish whiskey.
Because you're
That is why. So anyway,
That's pretty
I wanted it to
crazy.
be called. Okay, anyway, I wanted it to be called CJ's podcast because CJ's the only one that knows anything in this group. As in knows anything, I mean knows everything, random
I was gonna say
and
if
irrelevant. But that's kind of interesting, I guess.
I was gonna say if I knew everything, I wouldn't be here, because I'd be doing better things with my time for the world and humanity at large. Anyways,
see that's why we have
What kind of
CJ,
stuff would you be doing, CJ?
because he's such a smart.
if I knew everything, like curing cancer, putting an end to communism, liberating Scotland.
Okay, wait. Why is communism so bad, though, CJ?
Well,
Didn't you
where
say
to
one,
start?
CJ? Didn't you say one time
Because
that
people are-
communism isn't the worst thing ever? Like if it was done right, it could be okay.
Yes,
No,
that is
not.
true.
I didn't say that specifically. Basically, on paper, communism sounds wonderful. So it describes a
Because
society.
just shaking his head.
Describes a
That is
society
exactly
in
what
a
I
way
was
to
going to say.
Don't shake your head at me.
Basically-
Don't you
Alright.
shake your head at me.
It was a nod. It was a nod, Zach.
What communism promises?
Let's listen to CJ.
Okay, I'm sorry, CJ.
Communism promises a society in which there's no social classes and everybody's equal and has an equal amount of wealth and land, or not necessarily land. People don't own anything. It's where basically it promises a society where everybody is equal. But of course, because of natural human greed and also people like Joseph Stalin, that didn't really work out. And so instead, in communism, usually it's just the government. Anybody who's like high up in the government is living the dream, while everybody else is forced to break their backs for like virtually no pay or basically for no reason other than just to apparently serve the regime.
I'm sorry, CJ. I wasn't listening. I was filming you for the sake of my Snapchat story.
But,
Anyways,
but
let's-
it's okay because the recording got it, and we don't need to worry about it.
All right, so anyway, look.
Communism.
Because what do you think about
I
communism?
think that people don't let communism be good. Like what CJ said.
I wasn't listening though. I
Capitalism
forgot.
is just better in every way.
What is
But-
capitalism? Define capitalism. I don't even know.
CJ, define capitalism.
It's a free market.
Capitalism is essentially like working to better yourself. That's how it works.
And
Like
that's what America is.
everything you do is always to better yourself, which is part of why, like, in the Industrial Revolution, when capitalism first became a thing, like basically, if you owned businesses and stuff, you were great. But if you were working, things didn't necessarily
Just
go
like
as well.
communism.
I mean, yeah. To be fair, though, at least you had like rights under capitalism.
That is true, CJ. And you can become better.
Yeah.
This podcast is brought to you by Cuba.
Yeah.
The communist country that's not good at being communist.
Okay. I was gonna say we aren't sponsored by anybody, Zach. But anyway,
Like,
We're never gonna get a
I
sponsor.
don't think any country is very good at doing communism.
Because
So
communism
alright,
doesn't work.
Exactly.
all right, I'm gonna.
Should we
all
talk
right,
about?
Let's talk about something.
Should we
a bit
talk
more
about the other
relevant.
thing? Should we talk
No,
about?
I
the
have
other
one
thing?
more thing about
Was
communism.
irrelevant.
Okay.
What would
so-
make communism work?
Absolutely nothing
Perfect
on God's
humans.
green earth.
What do you mean perfect humans?
Humans that didn't
Not-
didn't
no
want to be
secret
better than
police.
other humans.
Let's see what made communism fail in the first place. Like secret police,
Greed.
changing rules. If you read Animal Farm, then
I did not read Animal Farm.
Pigs.
yeah, talking pigs that revolted against farmers.
Yep. Okay, so how we talk about something a bit more like relevant because communism's dying.
Let's talk about the other thing CJ brought
Yeah.
up, which is
So
the freedom of Scotland.
yeah, so
Scotland.
So Scottish independence. Although I literally can't do anything about it, I very much support it because, like, my dad's side of family has, like, I have Scottish ancestors on my dad's side of family.
That's not a reason. That's just saying.
So I just like Scotland in general. I like almost everything Scottish.
Scotland is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Scotland
I
has
basically,
bagpipes.
Scotland does
I would
have bagpipes.
I would love to go to Scotland
yeah, it
sometime.
would be a fun place to visit. But so basically, recently, as far as I can tell, based off like what I've been able to find out via the internet, like there are a very large number of people in Scotland who want to become independent from the United Kingdom, especially with the whole Brexit thing that's been going down. It was in like 2016, the UK voted to leave the European Union, and now it's actually happening. Like
And
they have
Scotland
left.
wants to be part of the European Union because they need the immigrants. That's what it said on NPR this morning.
What?
Yeah.
Wait,
So,
what?
yeah, I listened to
Yeah,
you
they
on
said
NPR
they
like
said
a
they
month
want to
ago.
be in the European Union because
They want to go to the EU.
yeah.
And so now a lot of people in Scotland want to be independent. And so there was an independence referendum held in 2014 in which I think it was a 55% to 45% voting to remain part of the UK. And now First Minister of Scotland, Nicola Sturgeon, she wants there to be another referendum now that Brexit has happened. Because as far as I can tell from what pitifully little research I've done, like a lot of people, their vote was swayed to being told that if Scotland became independent, they wouldn't join the EU, but I don't think that makes sense. And so, like, there's people on both sides of the debate, both in Scotland and outside of it. And yeah,
That is so crazy, CJ.
What is if Scotland becomes its own country? What would happen?
I mean,
But
I
get its
think
own border.
it would be independent
maybe
from
I mean, the thing is, like, would it become a Commonwealth realm, or would it be where they govern themselves, but they still recognize Queen Elizabeth II as the head of state, or would they just be entirely independent, like Ireland, India, and us? And also because of Scottish independence, like one of the reasons why, once again, as far as I can tell, one of the reasons why Prime Minister Boris Johnson of the United Kingdom doesn't necessarily want Scottish independence to happen is because, or at least there's a lot of people who think that if Scotland became independent, then Northern Ireland would vote to reunify with Ireland, and basically the United Kingdom would no longer be the United Kingdom; they would just be England. And a lot of people don't seem to want it because of the whole belief or idea that like they're stronger together than they are if they were all their own separate countries.
Everyone's talking about Scotland though, but is anyone talking about Wales?
Wales,
You mean like the
Correct me if I'm
animal?
wrong, but
That's what I thought.
No, I mean,
It's like,
no,
why are you
And
talking
then I was
about
like,
whales?
No,
wait
I
a
mean
minute,
the-
Wales is a place.
the Wales territory, the Welsh territory. That's what I was
So,
talking
like, correct me if I'm
I
wrong,
don't
I
even
don't
know
think
where
Wales was
Wales
ever
is.
actually a singular
are.
country. I'm pretty sure
It's
before
not a
being
country.
I'm pretty sure Wales was never actually a singular country until basically I believe they were like a collection of smaller kingdoms that were then conquered by the English, as were a lot of places in the world. Specifically, about a quarter of all land on the planet was at one point belonged to England / Britain / the UK.
CJ, I'm
Making them
kind
the
of sick of
largest
your England
empire.
facts. Not gonna
about. I'm
lie.
kind of sick of you
Okay.
talking, CJ.
All you care about is England, CJ.
I think we need to move on to a different, more entertaining topic.
Do you think Scotland would still have bagpipes?
I
If-
think
if
I think
they became
I
independent.
think that is a stupid question, Cole.
Cole.
Because
We're trying to change the subject. I want to talk about bagpipes.
bagpipes are so awesome. bro.
Okay, so
Did you know that?
human rights violations in North Korea? Let's talk about
No,
that.
dude, I'm trying to talk about
But
bagpipes.
Cole wants to talk about bagpipes, CJ.
Okay, fair enough.
Because bagpipes are awesome, and
Yeah,
three
and-
of us play bagpipes.
Yeah,
And the other one plays
all of you.
drums.
guys.
Yeah,
as
but-
you probably
Yeah, but
know.
drums.
Drums are
Cole,
stupid.
Cole,
Drums are
Josh,
stupid.
and I, we all play the bagpipes to varying degrees of skill. Josh is the best out of us three.
Josh is better than like all the people in West Michigan at bagpipes, except for
that-
Am I? Are you sure?
He's the best high schooler,
And then
probably.
Zach plays the tenor
That is
drum.
possible.
Yeah, I do. I play the tenor drum.
He's pretty good, I guess.
Zach, what's your favorite bagpipe song?
Jimmy Findlater. I really like that.
Jimmy Findlater is a pretty good song.
I really like Castle Dangerous.
Rockin' the Cradle's a pretty good one.
Rockin' the
Rockin' the
Cradle.
Cradle is
Yeah, Rockin' the
alright.
Cradle is fun.
It's a jig.
Yeah,
It's a jig, it's
and
not.
jigs are okay.
no, jigs are great. Except for Mini Hein, because I
Mini Hein is
can't
awesome.
play it to save my life.
Mini Hein's better than
Rockin'
the other
Cradle.
one. Yeah.
The one.
Which is the best of the...
No one knows what we're talking about, guys.
Maybe
Yeah,
I'll
unless-
edit in the tunes that we're talking about.
No, I think that would kind of
Yeah,
detract
that's
from
true.
CJ,
No
do you
idea.
even know anything about?
And the best thing is, if you were to put it, like, edit it into the podcast, it couldn't be copyrighted because it's a folk song.
Well,
I mean,
that is so true.
To be fair, it is still very much possible that, like, the Universal Music Group somehow owns, like, every bagpipes.
No
tune.
one is gonna sue
It's a
us
folk
for,
song.
for playing bagpipe song on this
Algorithm.
podcast that 5 people are gonna listen to.
We're putting it on
Hi,
YouTube,
people
and
for
YouTube will just like automatically recognize songs.
I have an idea for something
I
that
don't
would be a
know.
little fun to talk about.
What?
Then talk about it. Zach.
So, I know this would never happen in real life, but if the purge did happen in the United States, what would you guys do for that 12 hours?
What's the purge, Zach? You gotta tell
Oh,
us.
yeah,
You
the
can't just
I
Purge.
would
say-
hide.
Okay, so the purge is a fictional event that takes place once every year, and for 12 hours, any crime is legal, and you can do whatever.
Any crime is legal.
Yeah.
Any-
So
Why does it have to be crime?
Anything is legal.
Anything is
it doesn't
legal.
have to be
There's
a
no
crime.
laws,
Okay,
no
yes,
government.
there are no
Yeah,
laws
just-
for 12 minutes.
Okay, yeah, in order to put
For
it-
12 minutes? Zach?
I mean, 12 hours.
Okay.
12
thank you,
hours.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'd do.
I would try not to die.
I would not. CJ keeps one of CJ's points that he always brought up in the past is that if he thinks that if any crimes you committed, they would carry over till after the event happened.
Oh, do you think
Yeah.
that would happen?
I mean,
I
there's
doubt
no,
it, because
like-
otherwise, what's the
No.
point?
Because the thing is, like, if you've committed murder during the purge, you can then be convicted of murder afterwards, I would assume.
No, because
Then
that's
what's
not
the
the
whole point of the
that's
purge?
not the
then?
purge. The point of the purge. The point of the purge is to reduce human population. That's actually the
point.
So Zach, what would you
Whoa.
do then after making that comment?
I would not kill anyone because I don't want to.
I'd probably just sit in my basement and eat.
But what if someone steals your basement?
No one's gonna steal my basement.
Well, what if they like go into your basement?
just-
you know what
I
I'm
just-
saying?
Yeah, I guess it's
and
true.
like try to murder you. Or
I'd
something.
cover myself in my house and keep a shotgun by me. So,
Zach, do you even have a gun?
yeah, my dad had one,
Where at?
and it's
You have it like hidden. Do you even know where it is?
yeah, I know what it is, but it's not loaded, so
Do you know how to load a gun, Zach?
No, I don't know how to load a gun.
Neither do I.
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
CJ, do you know how?
Oh
Oh, wait. CJ's a Boy Scout. Of course he knows how.
How to do what?
Load a
Sorry.
gun.
Yeah, I know.
Put your phone away and listen.
So, yeah, but honestly, like during the purge, just like probably not much is going to happen in rural area of the United States in which we live because I don't want to give away the exact location.
Yeah, because then someone might find us during the purge.
True.
Well,
You
the
never
time,
know.
the time when it does happen.
Yeah, when like the entire U.S. Constitution just gets repealed, so they can do that because that's probably like what it would take.
All it takes is one person to screw everything over.
Yeah. So World War III happened a few weeks ago. Remember that?
I mean, basically.
Yeah, there was a bit of tension between the United States and Iran. Everybody decided the Third World War had started.
And it was such a funny topic to
And
bring
that
up.
the draft was going to happen, even though we haven't used the draft since Vietnam.
We haven't. Do you think the draft is legit? Do you think it's an ethical thing to make people do? Why don't women get drafted?
I don't know, Cole. What do
Well,
you think?
if women want to be equal, they should be drafted.
Equal rights, equal
But if
fights.
women don't want to be equal, then...
Think of it this way.
Most women do want to be equal.
Think of it this way.
Women have equal
Okay.
rights, they just don't...
They don't believe that
They don't
they do.
There's just some women who don't believe that they have equal rights. To say all females of the species Homo sapiens believe they don't have rights is incorrect, I would say.
Homo sapiens.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like,
Or Homo
okay.
sapiens
CJ
sapiens.
said Homo sapiens.
Instead of saying humans.
Yes.
What a...
It's
what
for
a CJ.
emphasis.
Okay,
Just say humans.
okay, listen. But what about this? Okay, imagine World War III happens because we kill some people in Iran or something. I don't even remember.
It was in Iraq.
It was
No,
in
It
Iraq.
was Iran. It was Iran, not Iraq.
But it was in Iraq.
It was in Iraq. It was Iranian.
I'm gonna be CJ
It was
for a
an
moment and say
Iranian
it's pronounced
military
Iraq
leader.
and Iran,
No, I say Iraq and Iran.
but it's pronounced Iraq.
Or Iraq
Is it
and
really?
Iran.
Yeah, it is pronounced Iran.
How do you know
That is
that?
so
honestly-
interesting.
Honestly, who cares?
What if there was a draft? What if Big Hoss or Josh? What if Josh's mom got drafted and his dad did not?
Well, I'm sure
Imagine Josh and all his siblings.
I'm sure they're too old to be drafted.
Well,
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
oh,
they're
wait.
right.
Yeah, there's an
That's a
age
good one.
cap.
That's a good one.
Like, it's more likely that we're just like...
It's like 18 to 20 something.
Five.
25 that you can be drafted.
Because that's optimal fighting age.
Yeah,
However,
That is CJ.
like, my grandpa was in the army until he was kind of old.
My grandpa was a sergeant in the Marines.
Which war?
World War II and the Korean War.
Yeah, my
He was
Yeah, my-
probably just a private in World War II, but still.
grandpa was a lieutenant colonel in the army during the Cold War. He joined during Vietnam, but he never went to Vietnam. Thank goodness. But yeah, but then I believe like most of his time in the army was spent at a NATO base in West Germany, where his job I believe was to like educate other officers on what the plan was for if the Soviet Union, along with the Warsaw Pact, ever attacked Western Europe. It's kind of what the battle plan was. I believe that was his job.
Do you think the Cold War was effective at all?
I mean,
what kind of question is that?
Like, do you think it was? Do you think all the hype during the Cold War was even worth it? Like, sure,
Wasn't that the point of the Cold War that there was no
the whole idea of the Cold War is that like
it was kind of a waste of money
the Cold War is
because
just, like,
we
many
sent so
years.
many troops out to do basically nothing.
It's because
Yeah.
war gives us money.
It's because war
War
Apparently.
helps
War helps our
that.
economy.
I mean, not always. Especially
Most
like
of
if it's
the
a particularly costly war where like the people that power your economy are being sent off to go die or something,
That's why,
like in a jungle or a field.
yeah, but that's why the women stay back.
To do
I
work.
believe during World War II, women working factors just because they weren't allowed to join, and so they started working in the
Okay, so
factories.
women are allowed to join, and
Yeah, now
20% of the military is made up of women.
Cool.
So, like, why don't they have to sign up?
Just
Yeah.
well,
Well,
to
they're
be fair, we
deciding
haven't
that
had,
like
to
soon.
be fair, we haven't had to use the draft in a.
Yeah, but the point of the draft is that you register so that when it has to be used,
Yeah, so if
It's
ever it gets to the point
usable.
where our standing military have, I believe, like 1.8 million people, along with 850,000 people in reserve, we're like gets small enough that we need to start conscripting people out of the general public.
Inscripting people?
Conscript.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I heard you.
Though to be fair, like obviously not everybody who's a male over the age of 18 is eligible for the draft. Because like there's certain medical conditions that can make you
Okay,
unfit for service, meaning that you cannot be drafted. Like there's certain
Like
things.
having flat feet.
that changed, didn't it?
Oh.
Like if you
Or like,
sub-
oh wait,
flat
that was
feet?
some.
My brother has flat feet.
like
So
if
do
you
I.
ever subjected yourself,
It's when your feet are flat.
Yeah, and it hurts after
Yeah.
walking without like support.
or if like you ever
So it's
subjected
like
your
a-
feet to the horrible
like a
thing
birth
that is
defect.
ancient Chinese foot binding.
Probably.
Because that is some nasty stuff. If you ever look it up, I recommend you don't. Because I've seen the results.
If you do, just don't.
Yes, please don't look up ancient Chinese foot binding and go to images. Because, I mean, I first heard about it when playing, like, an Assassin's Creed game or something. And I assumed that it just meant, like, they tied their ankles together so, like, they couldn't... So, like,
You know,
basically they tied
TJ,
their
I'm gonna
ankles
look
together
that up.
So they couldn't... Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
It's your choice. This is the United States of America. You have
Let's
the freedom
test
to do
if
that.
Zach was even listening to you by seeing if he even remembers what he's looking up.
Ancient Chinese foot binding.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. Good job, Zach.
And it is horrible.
Is that all it is? Ancient.
Well, I mean, to be fair, there are, like, women in modern day who had their feet subjected to that not so fun.
Ew.
Yes, I
Zach, why do you... Zach.
I told you.
That's so
When
nasty.
okay, proof that Zach
Alright,
wasn't actually listening.
Alright, no, come on, show Cole.
No, I don't want to see it.
That's so
I don't want to
nasty.
see that.
That's so
Yeah.
disgusting.
Like, when I see images of it,
Maybe
like,
that's
my
why
feet,
CJ recommended you don't look it up, Zach.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now
Yeah,
you guys
I
know,
looked
do
it up
not look
so
it up.
you don't... Because, like, your
I bet
foot...
viewers
like,
have already
basically
looked
just-
it up.
Cole, like, imagine your toes, but they're like that. Like, they...
What? That's
I don't know,
kind of
it's hard to describe.
Like your foot,
It's
but
hard
like
to describe
crushed.
it. I will be honest, like, basically it's hard to describe it. The only way to really do it justice is to show you a picture.
Yeah, no, I'm
But-
good. Thanks for the
But we're not
offer.
going to do that.
And you can satisfy your curiosity on your own, Cole Smith.
Okay,
So,
Full names aren't allowed to teach.
oh.
We know. Wow. Everyone
Okay,
knows
cool. His
Cole's
last name is
name.
Smith,
I
one of
can
the
just-
most common English last names in the world.
Fine. Whatever.
Yeah,
Hey, I get to edit the podcast, though.
true. He's going to edit the podcast.
I get to listen back and fix all the loudness and all
Issues
the
and
quietness.
put in the bagpipe music we were talking about in the background.
That's exactly.
And then you're probably going to have to,
And you should
Listen,
put
probably-
our faces in each of the corners and light it up whenever we're talking.
I actually did have.
No.
No, I'm not
No,
doing
this
that.
isn't
That-
visual, Zach.
That's too
This is an
difficult.
audio.
Do you know what a podcast
This
is?
is an audio podcast.
we're going to have like a cover image for it, though.
Yeah, I had a good idea. You know that like. Okay, wait. I'm gonna try to find it. You know that
Okay.
there's a Queen album.
No, that's copyrighted material.
No, similar
It's
looking.
cheap.
We're just gonna
Like
steal
one
their
of the
ideas,
licenses,
CJ.
like
It's
that,
okay.
like that.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
You know,
say like
we should
you
do
can't
the-
use that specifically.
I was thinking you were talking about the Queen, the News of the World album cover with
With a
the
robot that's
the
like
giant robot holding
a dead guy.
the dead members of
You mean
Queen.
this one.
Yeah, that one.
There's some good songs on that album.
Yeah, I don't really listen to it. Like the majority of what I listen to now is shanties and folk songs and whatnot.
All of us have so much different music tastes. Like Josh does not listen to music at all.
I listened to.
NPR.
The news.
I was listening to music on NPR.
He listens
today,
to whatever
actually.
it is that
It was
they're
so epic.
playing
the
in
10
bands.
It was
the
pretty
10-second music that they play, or the music they play during intermissions.
No, they were playing music the whole way here.
I mean whenever I
Was it like a live band?
Yeah, it was so good.
Like-
whenever I listen
It was
to
just
NPR,
like-
they never play music.
It was just like an event. Like there was comedy and music. It was kind of cool.
I mean, the only time I've had comedy on NPR was when I was mowing the lawn and I was listening to. Wait, don't tell me.
Is that
That's
that's
not
not,
really
comedy?
com-
That's just
it's a
game
comedy
show.
It was
game
like
show.
it was a comedy game show.
Yeah.
And then Cole, I forgot what you listened to.
I listened to Jacob Collier.
Collier.
And what genre is he?
Modern. I can't. What's the word? Experimental.
I listen
Experimental.
to mainly classic rock, but sometimes like jazz.
No, you listen to classic rock only.
Yeah, I listen to like
and jazz.
old sea shanties, Irish folk songs. There's like
CJ wants to not be American. He's doing
no.
his very best to not be American.
No, I very much like the American. I like having full freedom of speech and stuff. Unlike in
Zach,
places like
I mean,
the United
CJ,
Kingdom, where
So
you
we
can
can
be
make our
or you can be
podcast.
arrested in the United Kingdom. You can be arrested for posting something on the internet that someone could find offensive.
Anyone
I'm not
can-
joking.
Podcast.
There is someone in the UK. His name on the internet he goes by Count Danko. He's from Scotland. He got arrested for uploading a video to YouTube where he trained his pug to do a Zig Heil and a few other Nazi things.
Well, that's sort of offensive.
Well, then again,
No,
there-
but the thing is, like, he was doing it as a joke and posting on YouTube, and then because someone could potentially find that offensive, or because someone found that offensive, he was arrested.
well, then again,
Yeah,
in,
that is a
in
little
California, you
creepy.
can be arrested for a lot of things, like
I'm-
assuming someone's gender.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is true anymore, if it was ever true, but supposedly in California,
I
you
think
could be arrested for
Pulls out
misgendering
information from his
someone.
butthole.
What?
At the time.
No,
Yeah, he told me that like 2 days ago.
Zach tells me this like
He-
every
he
day.
got it from me.
Oh, you good?
Yeah, I
What?
learned it.
Oh,
I'm
so
the one who
CJ
did it.
pulls all the
So CJ
information from his butthole.
Yeah, I mean,
Half of our podcast is butthole information. Because half of our podcast is CJ giving us a bunch of crap.
You know, if someone just zoned out for a second and then tuned right back in, I'm sure they would just hear butthole or pulls. Zach pulls
yeah,
things out
one
of
of
his
the
butthole.
5.5 people listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
Did you tell me you pulled things out of your butthole, CJ?
I don't think half a person can listen to our podcast.
I bet all our friends. No, I'm just kidding. No, they won't.
They'll listen to like part of the first episode out of pity, and then we'll be dead in the water.
Okay, wait.
And that's probably just about what it's going to be. Yeah, so, do any of you have any good topics to talk about? Because
Something
Let's see, we
political.
talked about
Something
communism.
Political.
Brexit, Scottish independence,
Bagpipes.
bagpipes, our music tastes,
The
revealing
military
Cole's last
draft.
name, and the draft. Big Hoss, what do you?
Zach's just pulling up Instagram memes, probably.
Zach?
Your memes are.
All right. So, all right, Big.
Zach, how are you?
All right,
getting
Big Hoss, give us an interesting, relevant topic to speak about.
I don't know CJ, but you just called me Big Hoss, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
was introduced as Josh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, I called you Big
We-
Hoss
we-
once
we-
or twice during
Okay,
this podcast.
Yeah.
that is okay.
For any of the 5.5 people listening, we call
5.5.
Yes, we
That's
call
what
him
we
Big
already
Hoss.
said. That.
Josh's name is Big Hoss.
Yes.
That's
Uh,
his name.
I think
sometimes.
that arose
No,
like
that's
that.
your name.
Okay, I guess that's my name.
Yeah. I believe that name arose in Spanish
Think of it
or
this way.
something.
If you're in it was band camp.
Oh.
No, it was kind of Spanish though.
Oh yeah, because it's
Ash-
because of
yeah,
Spanish.
because someone was like, "Yo,
Yeah, I don't know
is
much
your
about
name
Spanish because the Big Hoss and Zach took Spanish. Cole took sign language for some reason.
I haven't used a single bit of sign language.
And I learned German
That's
because,
because
like, Big Hoss and Zach got to learn actual useful languages.
I don't know.
Unlike
Sign
Cole.
language is kind of useful for
But to be
people
fair,
that are deaf.
I
mean,
sign
if you-
language.
If
Okay,
you want
I
to be an interpreter when you grow up, it'd be
Yeah.
really.
I was saying when you grow up, it's
Like,
kind
if you
of
want to be
weird
a
to say
political
now.
interpreter.
Why is
we're
it
all
weird
like-
to say
Because we're all like 2 years away from being adults.
Yeah, but I have no idea what
Ish.
I want to do when
Yeah,
I
neither do I.
become. 2
Yeah,
years
see,
from
okay,
now.
Zach is finger signing to me, which means just spelling letters. I could get into a conversation with someone that understands English and probably still be able to, like, learn what they're saying or speak to them by, like, asking them what certain signs mean. Like, if you're talking to someone that only knows Spanish versus, like, you only knowing English, there's no way to interpret, like, while you're going. So if I really wanted to, I could have a conversation with someone
Yeah,
that's
to-
deaf. That's
because,
why ASL...
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because think part of the reason is because Spanish is a Romance language and English is a Germanic language.
That'd be Italian. That's a Romance language.
Yeah, like Romance languages are languages that were basically born from Latin,
Spanish.
whereas
No,
Germanic
actually-
languages were born from the Germanic languages of.
No, English was more Latin, but
Well, I mean,
Spanish was
the
more
thing-
born from Arabic.
The thing is, like, there's a lot more Latin and French vocabulary in English, but it's a Germanic language because Old English, from before the Norman French conquered England, Old English was very much Germanic because it was all influenced by the old Celtic languages and whatever passed for German back in ancient times and Old Norse and stuff.
Well, like one of the first things I've learned one of the first like informational things I learned in Spanish was that most words in Spanish come from Arabic words.
Because of the Moors.
Yeah.
Because for a while the Iberian Peninsula was pretty heavily Islamic. Now as far as I can understand, it's a very Catholic country, or very Catholic
What is?
part of Italy. The Iberian Peninsula, Spain and Portugal,
Yeah.
and Gibraltar. For those of you who don't know what's going on, Zach is signing.
I signed
Cole.
that I don't like coal, and
What
I
does
like.
this mean? I don't even know what that means. That you
It means
know.
Spanish.
Yeah.
Why do you know more signs than
Hopefully
me?
our listeners will be able to tell what
This means.
Hey guys, what am I saying right now? What?
Alright, yeah. Yeah.
What?
So like what are your guys
Stop
like
staring
general
at me, Cole.
ideas for what to do after once high school, or like what are you guys all planning to do?
This is where we talk about AI. Okay.
No, well, 'cause planning to
I don't know what I'm gonna do.
I don't know what I'm gonna do either.
'cause I'm
I want to be a lawyer when I grow up.
AIs will be lawyers, Zach.
No, they won't.
You're
Because
gonna get your jobs
Because
taken.
lawyers can't. I mean, AI can't make good decisions
What
on
if
their
these
own.
people that
can.
are listening don't
I'm-
even know what
I'm
AI is?
probably-
Which is
What doesn't-
probably likely because most people probably don't know what AI
Okay,
is.
we're gonna talk
most people
about.
probably don't listen to this podcast.
That is probably
We only
true,
have 5.5
CJ.
years.
Artificial intelligence.
Artificial
That's what
intelligence is
AI
robots that can think and make decisions based on past mistakes, right?
Yeah, it's
Pretty much.
machine.
It's like how
they're machine learning algorithms, but a bit
Okay.
smarter.
there's some
What
like
in-
games that practice this, like Hello Neighbor.
Kinda.
The neighbor learns based on your past
That
mistakes,
game.
That
So-
makes sense.
and
Yeah.
it gets better at the game.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what about a lawyer isn't like learning from past mistakes and past trials?
Creativity, making new stuff.
Well, you shouldn't.
Like what?
You shouldn't fail at trials in the first place.
Well, some people don't do as well as others in a court case. Oh, I guess it does depend on like how guilty.
I mean, if you do a
someone is.
practice,
mean-
if you do a practice trial, I understand. It's a lot
Yeah,
better.
I mean, what I'm planning to do after school is either go to trade school and become like a welder or something, or I'm gonna join the U.S. Army.
CJ, the robots can be welders.
Robots.
That is true.
Yeah, that is kind of true. But what about underwater welding? Because that is a thing.
That is
A very
Robots
real
can
thing.
robots
go
can
underwater.
go
Robots can
underwater
be
better than
waterproof.
humans.
Basically,
Robots
right
don't
now,
have
the
to
reason,
breathe
Basically,
air.
right now, the reason to become a good reason to become like a welder or learn some other skilled trades because, like, there's a lot more demand for all those jobs. Because basically, for a while, everybody's been going to college, and so you got a bunch of people with degrees that they can't get jobs with.
That is true.
That's kind
And
of
so,
the
like,
point
yeah.
of our.
Becoming like a welder or a plumber or something, or some other skilled trade, gives you a better chance of like getting a job based off what training you have, the other thing I'm considering is joining the army, and then like in
Robots
the army.
can fight in war also.
Yeah, that's true. Robots can definitely
Yeah,
fight in
But I do believe
It's called
First
World of
of-
Tanks. It's
I-
fine. It's on the Apple. It's on the Apple Store.
Oh
and
yeah,
the-
there's
Yeah,
a World of
yeah,
Tanks
Tanks.
mobile app.
on the Google Play Store.
But that is not at all how it works.
This stream is sponsored by World of Tanks.
No, all right.
This
This
podcast is
disclaimer,
sponsored by
hash-
World of Tanks.
I'd like to
disclaimer,
take a
not
moment.
sponsored.
I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends.
Quick disclaimer: we are not sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends in any way.
We don't have any sponsors.
Don't have any money.
We aren't gonna have sponsors until we're dead.
We'll have sponsors eventually, CJ, because
If we learn how to like talk and not cut each other off and change the subject dramatically.
yeah, I know
I have
we
an
talked
idea.
about things for like 2 minutes.
I have an idea. Big Hoss, if you had a funeral, what would you want your funeral to be like?
Good question,
I would
Zach.
want there to be bagpipes at my funeral.
What song? Amazing
song?
Grace?
Caledonius.
Caledonius.
Oh,
So like Scotland, the
definitely.
Brave.
Long Island Jig.
No, not Long Island Jig. Definitely not.
Long Island Jig is so
Jig.
stupid.
It is so stupid.
Auld
Like a
Lang
bunch of
Syne.
happy songs there just to make people forget that you're dead.
Auld Lang Syne.
Just
Fun.
play.
Random.
I don't know. It kind of.
Play "Don't Stop
Kinda.
Believing" by Journey.
I don't know.
So
Whatever
everyone
song
will just
is-
stop crying
is
and
played.
everything, and they'll just start singing along.
Play Kill Yourself by Bo Burnham.
CJ.
That's not funny.
That is really.
That's really
Not
not true.
appropriate.
Look me in the eyes, Cole. Does it look like I care?
Not
Here,
really.
let me just
Wow. See,
let me
Also-
just go back in time to the time when I cared.
Yeah, so
Zach, we don't have
See,
time
those-
machines.
What if we did have time machines?
That would be so crazy because we could travel
That's-
through
Okay,
time.
okay. How would that work?
It's not possible.
Okay, think of all the movies you've ever watched that have time machine
Click,
time in
which is a remote.
Harry Potter. Wait, have you guys watched Harry Potter?
Yes.
Have you?
I've watched the first 3.
Okay, the
The
third
Adam
one is.
Sandler-
Sandler
all
movie
of
Click,
them.
where he has the remote control that stops time and goes back in time.
Okay, how do you think like the timelines would work? You think if you went back in time, it would make a new timeline, and there would only be one you in that previous timeline, or do you think it'd be like Harry Potter, where everything that happens in the present happens from your future self? Like your future self goes back, but it doesn't change anything because what's happens.
basically where the
I
future is
think
already
that,
decided, but you just
We're
don't
not
know
smart
it.
enough to know this.
Yeah, but like, what do you think? What do you like the most?
What do I
Which
like?
idea do you prefer?
I prefer the
I prefer
the
one
idea
where,
that results in the least amount of destruction.
I prefer the one where there's not another version of me in the same timeline.
Basically, the idea that I think,
Like I replace the me.
basically
in
one that I
part.
kind of like is the one where like essentially the future is technically already decided, just you don't know it. Like in Harry Potter, where certain things happened earlier in the movie, which then when you get to the point where they go back in time, you find out it was them having gone back in time,
Yeah.
and having done things.
And then it just loops for like forever.
Yeah. Basically,
I'm
kind of
gonna
like
watch
Because that's what
kind of
always
like
happens
the
forever.
belief in Norse mythology that like eventually Ragnarok's going to happen,
What are you
and
even
then
saying, CJ?
Ragnarok, the Norse end of the world, in which the entirety of Earth and all the other 9 worlds are consumed in fire. But then the Earth, and the Earth alone, for whatever reason, I don't know, is reborn. And basically, then like everything that happened in the Norse myths will happen again, and then Ragnarok happens again, and so on and so forth, and throughout.
Not
all
gonna
of
lie,
time.
CJ, I'm not listening to you.
Okay, yeah.
I was
well, I'm
listening to
finished
you,
with that.
CJ.
Thank you, Big Hoss.
So I kind of want to have someone that's not CJ talk.
This is difficult because
Well,
CJ
yeah,
just
it
gets to
is.
say everything, and we're just like, oh.
And we just don't want to say anything.
All right, well then, someone bring up the topic.
I tried, and then CJ turned the story around and talked about how he's gonna go into the military last time. And Zach always thinks of these stupid questions. Hey Zach, what would you want at your funeral? What song? What song when like I don't know. Do they play songs at funerals?
Yeah, but it's mostly just like background noise.
Mm.
It's just like piano.
If it was like during the
whatever.
ceremony, there was like a ceremony
I'll just
song.
play Cuphead music at my funeral. Just have a bunch of ragtime and jazz music.
It's like now Zach's favorite music.
It's not
Yeah,
my
and they
favorite.
press play, and it's just like there, you know. And everyone's just all sad. and it's just
Edit in some jazz in that brief pause.
I know. I was going to.
Yeah. So then
Which he already has.
So then the remaining
I
half
have.
of the
It
person
is
still
done.
listening at this point.
This is like
will-
time.
Exactly.
Wait,
What
We've
happened
already
It's
is
like
edited.
time travel.
wait,
Like-
hold on.
like
Hold
they
on.
heard
Music
the
is
jazz.
there, even though we don't know it's there, but it is there.
And it's
because
not
the
even
future
there
is
yet.
set.
But the
Hold
thing
on
is-
one
It's not
second.
even there
Everyone
yet.
be quiet for 1 second. Watch this. Now there's some music playing. Now there's not.
But there's
Zach,
not,
that
though.
clap wasn't loud enough.
All right, no, all right, everybody be
Was it?
quiet. There wasn't a clap there. None of you heard a clap. Got it? Cole, you're editing out that clap. My ear is ringing.
See?
CJ, how does that make your ear?
See, that's
ring?
how
See,
it-
now I
because
am
I
in
did
charge of the
this.
future.
Oh, why'd you
I
do it
can
in your
dec-
ear, CJ?
I can decide the result.
Cole can just decide
Exactly,
not
like
to
you're
edit
probably
that out.
not-
I could
can
even
edit
cut
it.
out
Like-
what I am saying right now.
Yesterday I saw someone
And no one
smack
will
himself
know.
in the head with a tuning fork.
Why?
Oh, yeah, he's in physical science.
Yeah.
We did an experiment with
Yeah,
tuning
yes.
forks.
Yeah, and basically, Mr. Shaver said, like, you can smack on, like, your knee or your hand or your head, I guess. I don't condone it. But then, and then my friend Aiden, he, of course, being the genius that he is, then immediately, like, whenever he had to activate or whatever the tuning fork, he just would give himself a good old smack in the side of the head. And it works. It just works.
It just.
So, any new games coming out that you guys are interested in?
You know what?
Other
game
than Breath of the Wild 2, no.
you know what
I
I'm
forgot
excited
about
for?
that.
Nintendo Direct, February 13th.
Doom
Wait,
guy
what?
for Smash.
No, Crash Bandicoot for Smash.
Zach,
Doom
stop.
guy.
I'm being serious.
You both need to stop.
I'm gonna laugh in your face when Crash Bandicoot is
I don't
added.
care if he gets added or not.
Except the Doom Slayer is going to be added, not
The
Crash
Doom
Bandicoot.
the Doom Slayer's 2 violent.
Not necessarily. Snake's in there.
Doom Guy isn't Doom Guy without the bunch of gore. It would just feel weird.
Not necessarily.
I think
Wouldn't
Zach
you-
is correct.
Like, wouldn't necessarily
Like Doom
feel
Guy
weird.
is too violent.
I mean, to say that, like, a
Hey,
lack of
Big
gore
House's
would mean
foot
that
looks
Doom
like,
guy doesn't make sense.
Foot
To
binding when he presses his toes against the desk.
not really.
Not fine.
Like, to
Except
say
the
that,
toes
to
need to
say
be
that
more
the
down
Doom,
here.
to say that the Doom guy, like, wouldn't make sense without gore is the same way as saying that in Smash Bros. None of the Fire Emblem characters make sense because it's not a top-down strategy whenever you're playing them.
That's not.
That's true. That's the same logic.
Not really.
I mean,
Because it's the type of game. It's not
Like,
just the graphics.
Smash Bros. Is a fighting, like a
That's like
beat 'em up
saying
platformer,
Pokemon doesn't work in
essentially.
Smash because it's not turn-based combat.
Yeah, to say that the Doom guy wouldn't work because
No,
there's
but
no gore
I'm on-
is the
I'm
same
But
with
that's
as
just
saying
graphics. That's just graphics. It's not the actual
Like
how the
it's,
game works.
Like,
That doesn't affect the
like
gameplay.
although gore is a major
Gore
part,
doesn't affect
like
the
although
gameplay.
gore is a part of Doom, like that's one of the things Doom is known for, not really caring what the media would necessarily think. Like the things that make Doom iconic are like the weapons and the characters and the demons and stuff.
I've never even played
Things
Doom,
like
so-
Yeah, neither have I.
things like the BFG 9000. Fun fact: BFG stands for Big Gun.
oh, you could bleep
That was
that
a
out.
bad word,
Cole's
CJ.
already bleeped it out.
Yeah,
so
it's already
okay.
bleeped out, CJ.
Yeah.
I can't let this rating be explicit. Because if it's explicit,
Then less people will
I
the
mean,
do it.
children won't view it.
Okay then. So then I'm just gonna get all. All right, Zach. Let's get all the vulgar language out right now. And
Let's not, because that's more editing for Cole.
It'll take me like 5 seconds.
Okay.
So it's backspace.
You can't say that.
No, okay, stop. No more.
Okay.
No
Yeah.
more. No
What
more.
if my like sister's outside the door just listening to it?
Okay. Yeah. That
Yeah,
that is
because I'm
a.
sure someone is home right now.
Yeah, they're all home.
I heard them come.
Oh.
Yeah, they're here. It's fine. They're not even upstairs. I texted my mom. I was
Okay.
like, "Hey, mom, tell the kids don't come upstairs and don't be loud."
Okay.
Yeah.
So just
I mean,
make
I'm
sure
the
you
kids-
remove that.
I'm sure.
Are you
I'm sure
consider-
Ben's
are you
just
not
doing his
considered a
Fortnite
kid,
stream.
Are you not
Okay.
considered a kid?
Yeah. So.
Go follow Bunbot.
I don't even know what his channel is.
Bunbot TV on Twitch.
It's like TTV because he's like, oh,
Bunbot
it's
TV.
Twitch, so I have to have a
Adam,
Twitch TV
Adam,
at the
Did
end.
you know at McDonald's, the place where me and Cole work, they have stuff there that is there's a brand
They
that
have
we use
stuff
there called
there.
Bun.
What?
Yeah.
You know, like the
What?
tea canisters. They're made by a company called Bun.
I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
BUNN.
Fun
Wow,
fact: Big
that is
Boss
so
and I are
cool.
And it
unemployed.
just makes me think of
Josh
Yeah.
isn't unemployed. He works in the summer.
Yeah, I work in.
We're both more or less unemployed.
CJ can't drive.
I mean,
CJ
CJ
can't
is
do it.
far more unemployed than I am.
I mean, I can drive. I
Because
just
I've,
don't have my
I've
license
been working
yet.
for like 3 or 4 years.
I didn't get that.
See,
Thanks,
Cole.
Siri.
All right, you didn't hear that either.
Siri.
I
But
mean,
if Siri was just listening
that's
this whole time,
Yeah, I know it had like a
Not
big paragraph.
really,
I wanted
Just
to look read it, but it didn't show.
and just adapting to everything we say just to get smarter,
like
which comes
Is
Is
back
Siri
to
AI or Siri just no?
It's
Siri's
AI.
definitely
No, Siri's
AI.
just a personal assistant.
all personal assistants are AI.
You're not
Yes,
necessarily.
they are.
Yes.
No,
Otherwise, they wouldn't
They
be
are.
smart. They wouldn't
Yeah.
know anything.
no, they're literally all
They
just.
get all their
No.
information from the internet.
Okay,
It's a
okay.
text
Which is
to speech
already-
Alexa.
It's
They already get all
it's
their
a
information
voice.
from Google, which is an
it's
AI.
a voice search engine.
For example,
It's a
CJ,
voice activated search
we have
engine
Alexa.
with a text to speech.
Alexa can't answer certain questions because it doesn't know how to yet.
Because it wasn't
no,
programmed to
because it
answer
hasn't
them.
learned
Because
that
nobody
from previous
asked
response.
it hard enough.
It records everything so that it can learn from its mistakes. AI. That's why it's
That's
already.
why-
Alexa doesn't know anything. I'll ask Alexa. It answers like 10% of the questions.
Yeah,
And the
it's
most
really
things I ever
stupid.
use Alexa for are either to like play music or like start a timer or something.
Yeah, I just use it for my alarm clock. Alexa is my alarm.
You can ask it like really simple like one word questions.
Mhm.
And it doesn't know like
Remember the Alexa commercial with the family that used the Alexa, and the dad just came in for no reason and asked, Alexa, how tall is Mount Everest? And whenever I saw it, I was just thinking, why do you care how tall Mount Everest is?
Why'd you need to
It's
go
30
to the kitchen or whatever to do
I
that?
think it's 36,060
I thought it was like
feet or something.
29.
Why do you know
Wait,
this?
no, it's 29,000. I'm stupid.
Ish, yeah.
Yeah, it's like 29,000.
Why do you know this
Yeah,
stuff?
I
it's
just read a book
It's like,
about Mount
it's like
Everest.
roughly the same height as cruising altitude of your average commercial
Here's
airliner.
Here's a thing that people
Yeah,
don't know.
exactly.
Here's a question that most people don't know. What country is Mount Everest in? You can't answer, CJ. Cole,
Why
what-
can't CJ answer?
Because
I
CJ probably
know.
already knows.
Nepal.
Nepal. It's in Nepal.
I didn't know that. I didn't
Where-
even know
where did you
Nepal
think-
existed.
Did
I
you know
thought Mount
that-
Everest was like in Eastern Europe
That-
at first.
Where is Eastern Europe?
I meant Western Europe.
Eastern Europe is it's
East
in
of
Europe.
West
and
Europe.
It's in the
I had
east
to
part
like
of
do
Europe.
like a little.
I thought it was Western Europe, like Europe, like there.
Gosh, the
Sex.
best.
I'm glad everyone
The
can
best
see what
way
Zach
I'm doing.
everyone can see
Everyone
Zach
can see.
touching his hand as a map.
Basically, the best way to describe like where Western Europe begins, it's like basically it's as far as I know, it's
CJ
at,
Western Europe again.
it's at
Western-
Denmark. Basically, Denmark,
Western-
Germany, and Italy are the beginnings of Western Europe from
Oh, I'd
Eastern
say
Europe.
Portugal.
No,
Iceland.
I mean from Eastern Europe,
Portugal.
Western Europe.
Portugal is
What-
Portugal's the
eastest-
most no.
No,
No,
Portugal
it's
is
most
west.
west.
Portugal's west. I thought TJ was talking about Western Europe.
No, I mean like where Western Europe begins in relation to Eastern Europe is like
Oh, I know what you're saying.
say you were basically it's at
Like where to buy TV?
You think anyone's gonna
Yeah.
listen to this? They can just like look up everything we're saying online.
I don't know. I just thought.
yeah, they can look up everything, including ancient Chinese.
For some
foot
reason, I
binding.
thought east of the was
Which
to
you
the
don't wanna
west
look
for
for.
a second here.
That's okay because I'm not mad. Okay. I have an
So-
idea of something we can do. We're gonna play a game.
Okay.
Basically,
It's already 50 minutes long.
yeah, I know.
Yeah. Who knows?
This
Podcasts
is a
are
long
like,
podcast.
What if I
probably
press
an hour
space
long.
to stop the recording? It's just like it just loads forever, and we lose it all. That would suck.
That would
Would
kind of
suck.
suck.
But it'd be like whatever.
Yeah, let's.
We learned something.
Okay, what
new
were you
today.
saying about our game?
We learned something. Okay, we're gonna play a game. Maybe we'll end it here.
End it with a game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We can
Start
end
that
every
as a
episode with a
tradition.
game.
Yeah, we end it with a.
Okay, so we're gonna take turns.
game
We
or
say
a
one
joke.
word, and we have to build off each other. You know.
You know when
Like
Oh,
how
a
the
one-word
story-
story.
So it's like
I'm just
that
gonna say-
improv practice that they do.
Can we quick lay down a ground rule where we don't swear during this?
Yes.
Yeah, I do not
Sure.
swear.
I know, like using the same word over and over again.
And
probably gonna
the
edit all
stuff
this
you missed
out.
in
All right. So,
history
anyways,
You
that
don't
game
edit-
that you want
You
to
don't
set-
edit
why-
out a podcast.
That's why I said you can edit it out.
I'm gonna edit all of this
Yeah,
out
I know.
because
You
we're
don't-
advertising
I
for
was-
other podcasts
yeah, I know.
that aren't.
There are competitors.
I know, but they're
Okay,
better.
alright.
It's called capitalism. Remember, CJ, we were just talking about this.
Wait, cat.
Capitalism. I don't even know. Whatever.
Yeah,
Let's
competitors
play the game.
are in
All right, hold my
capitalism.
hand.
Okay. Yeah, I was right.
I'm not
Okay.
holding
Okay.
my
Okay,
hand.
now let's be
Arms,
quiet
Zach.
for a second so we can just start.
Everyone take a breather. 3, 2, 1.
In for
Let's-
4, out for 4. No, that
16th, no. Okay, let's start Cole's game. Because
Okay.
I think that
I'm gonna go first. CJ.
Went
2.
The
Playground.
2
Drink.
a
Bottle.
of
Lemonade.
for the.
Lunar New Year.
That was more than.
That was
one
3
word.
words.
It's okay.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
it's
Okay,
like
it's your turn. It's a
holiday.
one thing. Shh. That was a one sentence. Keep the story going.
But
He
Noticed
That
there
were
children.
at
the
celebration.
So
CJ
shared
His
drink
that
he
was
drinking.
with
with
He just said with.
I know his
children.
except.
No, it's not even your turn.
Oh, sorry. My
Okay.
bad.
Third sentence.
I was starting a new sentence or something.
yeah,
Okay, Cole.
When.
Big hoss.
Alright, names are fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
If
Just
it's
keep
more
going.
than 2.
When because.
Saw
Children.
Sharing.
Whiskey.
he
Was
About.
To
call
his
Grandmother.
to
report
that
The.
whiskey.
children
were
Drunk.
the whiskey
alright.
children were drunk.
Alright, so
They're known as whiskey children.
Your turn. Go.
Alright, I'll start off.
Are we just doing one sentence? each?
Sam
Made
Peanut butter.
At.
his.
Wait, I thought we were building a.
Yeah, I thought we were building
Oh,
a story.
Oh, wait. Oh.
It's fine. Keep going. We can put it into
Because I
our
thought he was gonna drink
His.
lemonade.
Okay, Sam made
peanut butter.
peanut butter at his aunt's
Apartment.
Which
Was
not
Safe.
because
inside
was
A
secret
Viking.
spatula
with
extra
Mayo.
germs bacteria. I meant bacteria.
and
the sentence is too
It's-
long.
it's supposed to-
yeah.
It's supposed to be improv.
Well, you know what? I think.
Should we do
this
one
is
more
go-
story and then be done?
All right. Yeah, we'll do
I'll
more
s-
story.
I
and
wanna
we'll,
start.
Don't change the subject.
We'll
Keep
wrap
it going
Actually,
in one
never
story.
mind. Cole
Zach,
starts.
you start.
Cole
Alright,
starts.
so-
No, because if I get the third word, I might get to pick the topic of the story.
Josh, you start. I want CJ to pick the topic.
I'm not starting.
Just start, Josh.
say a word.
The
Breakfast.
Whiskey. I'm gonna keep using
Went
inside
Of.
Zach.
Zach's.
Apostrophe S.
apostrophe
Zach. So
Yes,
inside
keep going.
Zach's stomach.
and
Then.
He
Barfed.
whiskey.
Everywhere. Period.
Next
okay.
sentence.
No. Keep going.
Oh,
Continue the
okay.
story.
And
After.
You can start a sentence with and.
Yeah, that's an illegal move, CJ.
I have freedom of speech under the First Amendment.
This is
I
my
can say what I
podcast.
want.
Oh wait, no, this is CJ's podcast.
This is
Never
my
mind.
This is-
podcast.
Fine, CJ.
But the,
Zach can start the sentence.
if you start a sentence with and, it defeats the whole purpose of a period.
Oh, okay, well then.
Well played. Well
Okay,
said.
so then
He
Wondered.
Why?
he
lost
His
it's improv, Cole.
yes and.
marble.
Alright. Honestly, I think we should probably just end
This
it
is too
there.
difficult.
Yeah.
All right, this is
Cole-
gonna be
Cole
Okay,
is
let's
losing
do
his
one more
higher
chord.
rating.
This is an ending chord.
it's the ending.
Zach,
chord.
you gotta start it. Let's go minor this time.
What?
That's not minor. Shush. Someone is singing a major third. Zach,
How
go.
are we supposed to know? We aren't in choir.
Okay, stop. Okay, here, I'm gonna tune it. Okay, you just copy me. CJ, you're first. Zach, I did not give you no. Okay,
Okay.
this is too difficult.
Do it again.
Okay, there. Hold that. You can take a breath. Okay, that was bad.
Alright, yeah.